Don't catch it, it's really not fun even if your immune system is strong. Italians, how is the situation right now with the coronavirus and lockdown? I'm a nurse student in Italy. Right now I can't go to the university. I can't go to work, we shouldn't go out unless it's a necessity, so basically we need to stay home and finally finish our Netflix list. It may sound pretty cool for the first few days, but after a while it gets pretty depressing and boring. I got so bored that I cleaned everything at home. I have a daughter living in Saronno, but she works in Milano. She is housebound, on lockdown. Her courses are being done via Skype. Her employer has asked her not to come to work. She is not allowed to leave her house unless it is an emergency, which I hope never happens. She says there has been quite a bit of panic buying at the supermarkets. All the restaurants are pretty much empty, however they are allowed to be open between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. People who are seated should have at least a 1 meter distance between them at restaurants. Tourist areas, like Duomo in Milano, are devoid of almost anybody. All school and universities remain closed, all sporting or any kind of events have been suspended, ski resorts are closed, the same for cinemas, theaters, discos, all church services have been suspended. Whilst the measures may seem extreme, Italy has been the hardest hit worldwide besides China, so it's necessary to curb travel and cultural activities to stop the spread of the virus. I'm a university student, and since last week we have been doing lessons via Microsoft Teams or Google Classrooms. I don't really like these methods, but it's the only alternative, so. There's a fair amount of psychosis between a big chunk of the population. Supermarkets have been raided overnight. We are advised to not leave our houses unless it's necessary, but you can fill a form on your own to certify that you need to go to work, so basically everyone is running around without a real examination of that form because literally anyone can do that. The only thing that has been really impacted by this is nightlife and sports since every league of every sport is suspended until April. I'm Italian but live abroad. Currently my brother is in one of the high-risk zone in the north. He works at the university as a researcher. Today he went to work and the laboratory was empty. Starting from tomorrow the uni told him to stay at home and that the structure will be temporarily closed. He was planning an exchange with the laboratory in Ireland for April but I think it's cancelled. He's worried of course and a bit bored too, but he understands that the situation is critical and that we have to give our contribution to avoid the spreading. My cousin is in Bologna where the situation is surreal. According to him, no one is on the streets and the supermarket got assaulted multiple times from people concerning that they would have run out of food, which is not going to happen since supplies are guaranteed. My parents live in a small city in the south where only 4 cases were registered in the entire region so far, so they are not much concerned. But they are taking precautions if the situation will get worse and they are trying to stay at home when possible. Luckily their jobs are not at risk because my mother works in public administration and my father can work on remote. I live in Germany instead. Yesterday I went to a pharmacy and I could get a couple of face masks just in case. The ladies there understood from my accent I wasn't German, so they asked me where I was coming from. As soon as I said I was Italian they jumped away. I felt like I needed to specify I was living here and had no contact with Italy since December. That felt bad. Right now I'm in my office in Tuscany, 20 miles away from my home. This morning at 7 a.m. we hadn't any problem moving around, but I don't know how things will evolve outside my workplace. There are a lot of different informations about what you can and what you can't do from all the media, so I'm here hoping to not getting sick and still be capable at least to move to home tonight and maybe came back to work in the next days. Some say life goes on like always, others say everything is compromised. I'm just here, waiting for things to develop. I have friends in northern Italy quarantined in their homes, my mum in hospital working with face masks and generally people freaking out. They say grocery shopping will be guaranteed, so overall I'm not even worried about it. Maybe is the chance to have some days off and enjoy my home and some games. I live in the heart of the Lombardy region. All my family has it and my granduncle died. People just stay home and that's it. There is not much to do and shops are closed. My uncle is in the hospital with a high fever. His wife got it as well but she is home as her symptoms are milder. My cousin is taking care of her and miraculously she is fine. However her grandpa died and she couldn't even go to visit him. Her grandma is sick as well and she can't see her either and she can't see her dad. Hospitals are closed. The available hospital beds in intensive care have run out and doctors are making tough choices for who to try to save, which is terrifying considering most of my family is old and they might not get a bed. Doctors are overworked and tired and since I know many people that work in the hospital, They are sharing with me these gruesome pics of people recovered in the intensive care unit. They are intubated and it just is a sad view. People keep saying it's just a flu. Yes, sure, but a flu without having had a vaccine can be quite dangerous. The youngest person I know that has it, he is in his 40s and has had 40 degrees Celsius temperature for 2 weeks straight and counting. Don't catch it, it's really not fun even if your immune system is strong. Trust me on this, I have seen the repercussion on my family firsthand. No church is open or public event is held. Since Italy is primarily populated by old people, we are used to see the streets being empty and everything being quiet. Right now is just quieter. They couldn't even hold the funeral for her grandpa. My grandma woke up sick and I truly hope she has something else. I am a doctor who works at one of the largest hospitals in Rome. The situation seems much worse than reported in the news. We are scared, but we continue to go to work for a sense of responsibility by turning. We do not have suitable safeguards for our protection, such as FFP3 masks. Since yesterday night, every town is locked down. I cannot move 5 kilometers without a proper reason, work, or a relative very sick and so on, otherwise it could get arrested. The government, immediately backed up by lots of celebrities, is basically saying please, stay home. Our emergency departments in the hospitals are collapsing. Literally, chemos or surgeries that are not urgent are being delayed. How's a chemo not urgent? Bars and restaurants can only open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. It's been over a month that places where big number of people could meet have been closed, discos, sports centers, clubs, schools and universities. It's crazy. South Italy here, I'm waiting for the virus to spread as in northern Italy, if not worse. A lot of idiots rushed south to their mommy after the government declared the region of Lombardia red zone, and here the people seem to not understand the situation. Yesterday morning there were a lot of people strolling around not caring about what's happening. Yesterday night the Prime Minister declared all Italy red zone, and a lot of people rushed to 24/7 stores to buy food. I decided to stay at home for at least a week, but my parents and the parents of my friends are going around the city like it's not their problem. There will be another infection peak here in the southern Italy in a few days. I'm a student who lives in Emilia-Romagna. Schools have been closed for 3 weeks, there is no one hanging out, everyone is cooped up in their houses. It looks like a post-apocalyptic scenario. People are starting to have relatives with the virus. My aunt, for example, has the virus. In every town there are a few infected. We can't move from one town to another, unless we have a specific permission. For example, we can if we have to go to work. Every day we use Google Meet to make online video calls with our teachers and classmates, so we keep studying and doing our programs even if we are closed in our houses. Many people are terrified, while many are chilling way too much, especially in the southern regions, because the virus has just started spreading there, while here in the northern regions there are already thousands of infected people. It's pretty bad actually. I'm sophomore and I feel like it will be really hard to catch up, because we will have barely a month of actual school left. Moreover, the lockdown is causing severe economical issues, especially to those who own small businesses such as restaurants, clothing stores etc. A lot of these activities will go bankrupt, because they have close to no customers. However, I think the only thing we can do is contain the infection, so the lockdown is necessary. We should stay home but people are selfish and don't care. Although the government calls for social life shutdown, people find it more important to have dinner out, or get coffees in crowded places. The worst thing about this virus is the people convinced of being immune to it. I'm in the Florence airport right now trying to get back home to the US. I've been living here for 6.5 months studying abroad. I was supposed to stay till June but my study abroad program got suspended and my student visa shortened. It's insane right now. And that's a massive understatement. I couldn't make it to the airport in time cause Florence is in lockdown as of last night. No one is allowed to leave home except to go to work. So you can imagine how difficult finding a taxi was. I missed my flight, and spent 4 hours on the phone with United, F them, trying to get my flight rescheduled for the 3rd time. Us study abroad students have been living at the edge of our seats. One email from the Italian government suddenly changes everything. It has been a really stressful, chaotic, emotional couple weeks for both myself and my friends. Honestly, I just broke down in the airport because I was so frustrated, and I was definitely not the only one crying. I'm Air Force stationed in Pisa. I was thinking my drive to work this morning would be quiet after the lockdown. Nope. Cars on the roads like normal and saw flights taking off from the airport. Not sure how people are flying unless it's within the country. Currently waiting on word on how the military will go forward with the new decree. I basically live in the epicenter of the outbreak of coronavirus here in Italy. Things are difficult for me because I am far from my parents, like 1-hour drive. They are in their 70s and I am stuck, because I don't want to go home since I am scared I could possibly infect them. But at the same time I want to help them with groceries and stuff. I am currently working from home and going out only once a week to do grocery shopping. To move between different towns we need a document attesting that we are either going home, work or it's an emergency. The hardest part is hearing the daily update of the number of deaths and sick people. Every day we are told that hospitals cannot accept people anymore. All the hospitals here in the Lombardy region are saturated. Nurses and doctors are falling sick too. If you need to go to an emergency room, even if it is not for the coronavirus, they cannot help you and this feeling is devastating. Moreover, there are no masks around, it's impossible to find them and hospitals are finishing them too. Waking up every day to this is hard, but I'm still hopeful that this thing will end soon. I am self-employed. I am working as normal, but I advised my clients not to come by unless it's truly urgent. I'm asking my secretary to take a paid leave until the end of the month because I don't really need her around since many colleagues are not working much right now. All bars are closed. Restaurants too, I guess, but I wouldn't know because I have a newborn and my life has been just work home for the past 2 months anyways. We avoid shaking hands and coming too close to other people. Wash our hands religiously and change clothes as soon as I get home. I avoid taking the elevator as much as possible. All in all, life is going on mostly as it was before, but there's very few people around. I am mostly worried about my father since he's close to 80 and he insists on working. I hope this goes away soon. Italian dentist here. The situation is under control. The lockdown was made because people started going on vacation, pubs, cities, etc., ignoring many common sense rules. Many are worried by the economic repercussions of this lockdown. I'll have to close my activity for basically a month, and that's gonna suck. If the government does not help us by stopping taxation for a while, we might be in deep trouble, financially speaking. The virus itself concerns people because of the strain on the national sanitary system. For people not familiar with Italy's system, we have universal healthcare for everyone, rich or poor, and the intensive care units are almost full. Natural disaster triage is taking place in many hospitals. Hope this will be over soon. I'm a high school student in Treviso, one of the biggest cities by number of infects, and right now it has become red zone. At first it was super fun because, school closed, less homework, online lessons done by teachers in pajamas and listened to by students in pajamas. But currently it's becoming also annoying. People are getting over paranoid, especially adults and overall older people. We are locked down in our province and people are getting fined just because they are getting out of their homes. Nobody talks about anything else. I can't see my friends anymore. My dad went skiing and is afraid to return to Treviso, and overall social interaction is dead. There is nothing to do. Younglings are getting more and more bored and elders are getting more and more paranoid. Good thing there are a lot of ways to be entertained nowadays because it is a really bad situation. Everything is in lockdown, you can't move without a valid reason. This wouldn't have happened if it weren't for all those stupid people who kept traveling even though they were explicitly told not to. There are many infections caused by this. Literally, sick people escaped from quarantine to go back to their native town. Also, the other day, as soon as the first red zones, no traveling from into those zones, were announced, the train stations of those zones were full of people running away. It's surreal how stupid people can be. The most frightening thing is going to be the economy. Not only stock prices, but all the small businesses that survived and that support small communities. My parents own a big electrotechnical company, but their biggest clients are the government, airports and big corporations, that now don't allow anyone inside. It's looking pretty bad and the worst is yet to come according to academic studies. It's outrageous. I'm crying right now while I'm typing these words. I'm 19, I study IT in university, and both my mother and my father, divorced, have lost their job for at least the next month. It's already really hard normally. Right now the situation is terrible. This morning I've spent hours looking for good websites where to sell our paintings and everything that allow us to continue living. Even before this whole thing started I was looking for a job to get some money while studying to help my family, But right now I can't even go to an interview because movements are allowed only for working, if you already have a job, and health issues. I live in the region where this whole thing started in Italy. Yesterday night our government has extended our rules to all regions of Italy, so this means that the number of people living my situation has only increased. I never imagined I would ever live this nightmare. I live in Italy, in the province with the highest positive case in the whole country. How are things here? Bad. Really, really bad. Starting from people, someone just doesn't understand what it means to stay at home. They keep going out, doing their daily stuff, not caring about others. Then they get sick and oh, guess what? Hospitals need to let older people go and die because they have to save people with higher chance of surviving. These thoughts come mostly from young people, who don't really understand that coronavirus is, indeed, dangerous. Not only for older people who are already sick, but for young people as well. By now, with the new laws, no one can go out without a real reason. I appreciate that our government is doing this, but it had to be done sooner and way more strict. I'm a journalist and I'm trying to spread as much awareness as possible, but let me say, it's hard to teach people to respect rules. It really is. As I said in another comment of mine, I don't want to build fear with my articles, but I want people to actually understand reality without filters. We're all scared. No need to act tough and say I'll never get it so I should do what the hell I like, right? Stay at home. People from other countries as well, even if your government didn't say anything, try to stay as much as possible at home. It's scary to know that there is a potentially deadly disease spreading around just out from your door, taking people's lives and most importantly taking the lives of people you know. Thanks for listening to Radio TTS. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell for more videos about basic hygiene. Click the right box for the Psychopath playlist. Let us know in the comments what you think about the virus and this situation.